So I want to tell you something that is super important to build wealth, to be successful, to do any sort of thing. And it doesn't matter where you are. I really strongly believe that this is very important for you to get practice with doing this. And the thing is that you need to get practice with is learning how to say no. I am good enough. What I have right now is absolutely fine, and I don't need that particular thing. And we often feel like we need to get something, right? And we have to remember that need, that desire, that's because somebody is marketing to us and somebody is saying that we need this particular thing, but often we don't. And we can get by with very minimal things and do some really cool and amazing things in this world. So if you don't know me, I am Professor Dave Massack. I'm an associate professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship. And I create this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There's so many people that help me out that I want to pay the favor for it to help you out as much as I possibly can. So investing is a really easy thing to do. All you're doing is taking some money some resources that you're getting in, and instead of having it at a single point source that it's you, right, that you're the only one that's sort of having this thing, you're distributing it across many different people and many different organizations. Organizations are just people at the end of the day. It's just groups of people, and some organizations do extremely well, and we want to give them some resources to grow and to do a little bit better. That's all investing actually is taking money that you have right now and distributing it across many different resources. But here's the thing that I think everybody gets mixed up on, is that there's a lot of behavior behind this that makes it really challenging, right? So the behavior is that you need to have those extra resources to distribute broadly to all these different sources, right? So I recommend, and this is like in line with a lot of people, whatever you make, right? You take 15% and invest it broadly. And this is where I differ from some very well-known folks that are out there. So I would say just invest in index funds if you have like your work that you're currently working at has a retirement plan. That's what goes on at our work or my work, is we've got sort of fixed plans that we can go into. We just look at the best ones and we look at ones that have a long track record. So what we're doing with that, right? So we're taking 15% of our income, combined family income, and taking that and distributing it with many different companies that are doing extraordinarily well. And that's why I recommend the index funds if you don't have any other options or anything like that, because those are the top businesses that are in the world. And they tend to, and also an index fund it's not really all that sketchy and things like that. They just take a look at the stock market and they just take on average, how's the stock market actually play out, and they take an average of all of the prices of the different stocks that are on the market, and then they just sum it up and they say this is what the index actually is. Really simple, shouldn't be too scary in terms of what it is and what they're doing. And all you're doing, again, you're taking this point source and distributing it across multiple other people that are doing pretty good, right? So that requires me to have not a lot of hubris, right, or arrogance, where I have to say I'm good enough, I'm okay. There's other people that are doing really good, and distributing it to other people. So that's one element. The other element is sort of a risk management process. So getting like life insurance when you have dependents, disability insurance, things that are really sort of simple, very simple ways to mitigate risk in terms of just getting simple term insurance, like a 20-year term or something like that. Very simple things. But here's the thing. Nobody wants to do this because it is hard to do. So there's two elements to this, right? So the first element, it's really hard to say no, thank you. That's really hard for me, that little boy inside, or for you, the little girl inside, to say, no, thank you. I don't need this thing right now. And I have to hold off. I'm going to show you what my stand looks like right now. Because I mean, I've played with a couple of different things, and this is actually working out pretty good. I'm going to show you my wonderful camera stand, and I've got an iPhone, which I love iPhones, they're really good. But there it is. Cinnamon Toast Crunch with a mug. It works pretty good, actually. I've got this sort of stacked up, and it works. It's good enough, right? So I can get all of this equipment. I've actually tried. I bought some lighting. Didn't work out. It just didn't do. And every time I do things like that, it doesn't work out with the sort of simple things, doing things that are very simple. And we have to remember that if you get stuff doesn't mean that's going to be any better than what you actually have. And so learning how to say no thank you, learning to say this is good enough, this setup is fine, I'm okay with who I am. If it looks crappy and all that kind of stuff, that's totally fine, right? Like, yeah, and all of those kind of things you have to think about, like, I'm okay. And if you can get to the moment where you say that I'm okay, that is going to be really, really important for you. So that sort of behavioral piece of it, to say no, I'm okay. I'm totally fine with who I am. I can save some money. I drive around in a 2011 Mazda CX-7, and it's 2020, so it's 11 years old. I make plenty enough money to do okay. In fact, we're going to get a new car this year, and hopefully it's going to be an electric car. You might have heard of the brand. But, that's what you have to do, is just keep pushing back and pushing back and pushing back and saying, no, thank you. I have this in my mind, right? So the image that I have in my mind, in those movies, those like war movies where they're like yelling, there's one guy that's yelling at the line, and they're like yelling, hold it, hold it, hold it. And that's that's what you kind of have to do, is think about, like, how long can I hold this and sustain how I'm actually living, right? Because the sort of society as a whole, right, like culture is kind of engulfing you to do all of these wonderful, really cool things. But you don't need to live like that to do really well. So the longer that you sort of hold that line of being uncomfortable, right? So living a long time, like a college student, a university student for a long time, beyond, where you actually start making money and all that kind of stuff, it's going to be very helpful. So that's one thing. The second thing that I think most people, look at my Band-Aid, I get these little cracks in my fingers. I don't know how many people get that. It's when it's dry. So anyways, too much information. So what you need to do, the other part of it is the complexity of it, and minimizing complexity and thinking about, we try to think that there is like this rule to riches, or we have to do all of these kind of things and combinations, all this kind of stuff. But really, reality, you don't need to do a lot of that stuff, right? So then we get overwhelmed with complexity. So we're always thinking about, what is the best stocks? What is the best this? That's why I recommend just doing index funds. It's not necessarily, they do end up doing, it's hard to beat them. A lot of people would say it's impossible to beat them. Most people that understand the stuff. But at the same time, there's also this component of just, it's easy. And thinking about things that are easy in your life, that have low simplicity or, low complexity, very simple. That's why I think this movement of, I'm blanking on the name, the movement that, the simple living where you remove everything is actually pretty nice. And that's part of it. It's just having a simple life. It actually gives you a lot of authority to do things and flexibility to do things. And you don't have to think about all the other things that are going on in your life, and you can just enjoy your life. And that is going to be the way that you actually move up and do really wonderful things in this world, and being able to do whatever you want, right? So investing, again, looking at 15% of your income. My wife and I basically live off of one income, and we've done that for years. And the longer that we could do that, the better it is, right? And we can give back. It could build this reciprocity project. By the way, check out and buy credits so I can, grow this even more. Like all these kind of things that we could do that we can't possibly do if we were always at that very limit, right? So that's why you need to always think about, like, hold it, but then also as well, reducing your complexity, thinking about how to minimize risk in your life. What does that risk look like, and be very simple with it. So hopefully you gained a little bit from this. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. Take care and have a wonderful day. Bye. Guess I gotta go eat my Cinnamon Toast Crunch.